Pasa, you just mentioned how we should be voting with our wallets on this issue, and that's a good segue into this piece here, how Coca-Cola tried and failed to suppress a boycott over Gaza. This from the Washington Post. When sales of Coca-Cola began to plummet in parts of the Middle East and Asia this summer in response to boycotts of corporations with alleged ties to Israel, the soda company's franchise in Bangladesh rolled out an expensive advertising campaign featuring a television star known for his roles in South Asian soap operas and reality TV. The star, Sharaf Ahmed Jaban, played a shopkeeper who assured customers that Coca-Cola was not an Israeli product and underscored the company's ties to Muslim communities. Even Palestine has a Coke factory, he told a group of boys, who then dropped their political objections and guzzled down bottles of the sugary beverage. But there was a problem. The so-called Palestinian factory is actually an Israeli-owned bottling company that operates on an Israeli settlement in East Jerusalem, considered illegal under international law. And so rather than read through all of this, let's go to a video here from Middle East Monitor. They put out a great synopsis of this with some clips of the ad in question.
Listen, guys, Coke is not at all from that place. Even Palestine has a Coke factory. These are some of the comments from Coca-Cola's new advert that has caused major backlash. Since October 7, Coca-Cola, as well as many other brands perceived to have ties with Israel, have faced consumer boycotts. In Bangladesh alone, Coca-Cola has seen a decline in sales of around 23%. And in what seems as an attempt to disassociate itself from Israel, Coca-Cola released this new advert in Bangladesh stating the following.
না বাবলু ভাই এই জিনিস এখন আর খাচ্ছি না শুনেন নাই এটা তো ওই জায়গা
তো খবরটা তুমি কই পাইলা
Israel was never mentioned, only referred to as that place. The shopkeeper then convinces the customers that Israel has no connection with Coke.
আরে মিয়ারা কোক মোটেও ওই জায়গার না 138 বছর ধরে 190টা দেশে লোকে কোক খায় তুরস্কে খায় স্পেনে খায় দুবাইতে খায় আর ফিলিস্তিনে তো কোকের ফ্যাক্টরি আছে
The customer is convinced and asks for a Coke. But the advert didn't have the effect Coca-Cola hoped for. Social media users have labelled the advert insensitive, inaccurate and deceptive because there is no Coca-Cola factory in Palestinian territories. But there is a factory in the illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. The video first aired on the 9th of June in Bangladesh during the India-Pakistan cricket match, and reactions erupted offline and online. The video was removed from Facebook and YouTube for about 5 hours before being re-uploaded with the comments disabled. Sharaf Ahmed Jaban, who plays the shopkeeper in the advert, was hired by Coca-Cola to act and direct. In response to the backlash, he posted this on his Facebook. I simply presented the information and data provided by their agency. This project was only part of my professional work. I have not supported Israel in any way, and I never will. My heart is always on the side of justice and humanity. So why is Coca-Cola on the boycott list? Is it true that they directly fund Israel? Coca-Cola is an American multinational. It is a publicly traded company and not owned by any single entity or country. But they are facing boycott calls, especially in Muslim-majority countries like Bangladesh, along with other iconic US-born franchises like McDonald's and Starbucks. Coca-Cola has business ties with the Israeli franchise bottler, the Central Bottling Company, which is located in an illegal Israeli settlement in the occupied West Bank. This has led to accusations that Coca-Cola is complicit in and profiting from Israel's illegal occupation of Palestinian territories.
So that's a good synopsis of the piece here, but the Washington Post did their own little investigation into this. So in its first public remarks on the controversy, the company told the Washington Post the campaign was a regrettable mistake. Quote, as a global brand, we partner with local franchises to serve local communities. We acknowledge that the recent video missed the mark, and we apologize, says Scott Leith, Vice President for Global Strategic Communication at Coca-Cola. The video has been removed from all platforms. The incident underscores the perilous moment for American companies seeking to untangle themselves from the widespread anger over Washington's military and political support for Israel's offensive in Gaza. U.S. mega brands like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Starbucks, and KFC all have experienced a decline in sales in regions that have experienced Gaza-related boycotts. In February, shares of McDonald's fell about 4% after the company reported that flagging sales in the Middle East contributed to it missing fourth quarter revenue targets. In January, Starbucks reported quarterly earnings and revenue that fell short of Wall Street's expectations due to headwinds that the company's CEO Laxman Narasimhan said included the Gaza boycott. The boycott against Coca-Cola derives from the decision of its franchisee, the Central Bottling Company, to operate out of the Advert settlement industrial zone in Israeli-occupied Palestinian territory, said Omar Barghouti, co-founder of Boycott, Divest, and Sanctions, a nonviolent activist movement opposed to Israel's occupation. That made the Coke advertisement's promotion of a Palestinian factory particularly galling, said Barghouti. The company must think people of Bangladesh and possibly all Muslims are so gullible as to fall for its botched, I dare say primitive, propaganda, he said. The misleading characterization of the factory sparked a furious backlash online and professional consequences for the advertisement's actors. The regional Coca-Cola franchise in Bangladesh, already weathering a 23% drop in sales before the commercial aired, pulled the ad and terminated another one that had been shot but never aired as part of the same campaign. Paul Argenti, a professor of corporate communication at Dartmouth, said it was striking to see an international company like Coca-Cola mishandle the incident so thoroughly. In sensitive situations like this, your facts have to be correct and your communication has to be airtight, he said. It appears that they believe they could get away with this kind of deception. Argenti acknowledged the company's global footprint and decentralized franchise structure, but said it does not excuse the greenlighting of advertisements with easily disprovable facts. Final piece. Coca-Cola was not strong enough in terms of pulling this advertisement as soon as they saw it, and they were way too slow in getting an apology out, Argenti said. Those are sins that a company like Coca-Cola, which is one of the best companies in the world, should not be able to get away with. And it looks like they aren't, thanks in large part to social media. You know, social media is a double-edged sword, but back in the day before everyone had a social media account, they probably could have gotten away with that because the truth would not have been exposed that quickly, if at all. I mean, just look at the change in tone from, obviously, the most establishment of outlets, the Washington Post, talking about BDS as a nonviolent protest organization. I mean, BDS has been demonized for decades in this country. There are laws on the books against BDS in certain states in this country.
Anti-Semitic.
Yeah, exactly. But as you said in the previous segment, Pasta, this is the way to have an impact. Everybody should, do what they can, including taking to the streets and engaging in peaceful protest, civil disobedience. But yeah, make these companies hurt who support what's going on right now. 100%. What do you think?
Well, first off, I like the little disclaimer. I drink Mexican Coke, which is bottled in Mexico and has real sugar in it, not that corn syrup, which I don't think you can find any type of scenario when you talk about this where you can remove Israel from not being part of the globalist identity or the oligarchs or the empire of sorts. And all these companies are the fascist wing of the empire itself. Yes. So for me, the fun part is seeing that everybody's realizing, I mean, look at all the companies that they're boycotting. McDonald's, crap food. Starbucks, terrible coffee. Coca-Cola, bad for you. I mean, the unhealthiness of all these products anyways, I think it's great to expose. And I think it kind of like ties into this mentality that everybody starts to understand that the empire itself is evil. It doesn't care about you. It just wants to make profits. It wants to give you terrible food, awful food.
That's right.
So as you're boycotting these companies, you're starting to realize even more that, wait a second, they're evil. They want to poison us to death. So we should continue to boycott these companies no matter what. But I also do like what the actor himself said, though, Keith. Like, I didn't do any homework. They handed me data, and I just went with it and said, I'm going to direct and make my own commercial. Not do any homework whatsoever to see what the information they're giving me. What I'm saying, there's no Coca-Cola. There's even a Coca-Cola factory in Palestine. Did you bother to look that up? Did you ask for any pictures of that, pal? I don't think so.
No, he took their bullshit and he took the check, right? I mean, anybody who knows anything, if you're at all tuned into this, there are certain companies that are on the list. McDonald's is one. Starbucks is one. Coca-Cola is one. These are obvious. Now, the list is far more extensive than that. When you look, I mean, it is astounding to see just the corporate footprint that Israel has, to your point. But yeah, Coca-Cola is one of the obvious ones. So yeah, he was obviously, look, he wanted a payday. These corporations pay huge money for commercials, especially if you have a celebrity endorser. I mean, there's a reason why actors do TV commercials, because, you know, you're talking about a $600,000 check for 12 hours work. I mean, it's just an incredible payday for them. And I'm sure that's what motivated him. And he thought, well, I'll just, if anybody busts my balls over it, I'll give them the excuse that, hey, I didn't know, they told me, you know, and that's that. But yeah, no, I mean, look, people are having an impact here. It can seem like a desperate situation because it is a desperate situation. But there are ways to have an impact, and one way is to, not buy Starbucks, not eat McDonald's, KFC. And you're right, it is such a perfect metaphor for the rottenness of the empire. That look at what they're peddling: Pizza Hut, KFC, Domino's, McDonald's, Coca-Cola. Yeah. You'll feel better. You'll feel healthier.
Yeah. What you said, the corporate footprint is the best way to put it. That corporate footprint should help people connect the dots to understand the empire, what they're doing, how they're making us sick. All those companies you just mentioned, look at the chemicals they use in their food, and it's all tied together. You know, big pharma, big restaurants, big tech, the whole 9 yards. Israel, the United States, it's all one big mechanism that's operating against you, the people. And I think, I'm glad when I see stories like this and people start catching this. You're right. This is the part of the internet that got out of hand from them. They thought they can control all the news, but This is where it got out of their control, and where we have some power. And where we do have power, we need to use it. And the best place to use it is with our wallets first.
Please clap.